love and the ego. The importance of putting all your affirmations and goals in alignment with your higher intelligence of the heart cannot be overemphasized. Joshua says in Love Without End, your life is first determined by love and then directed by your thoughts and actions. According to the nature of your thoughts and actions, your love will either grow in strength or else become reduced, altered, misconstrued, or even inverted. The mind is not a good starting point, for it is entirely derivative and has no primal energy or power. In searching for primal essence, the mind does not have a clue. We must be able to discern between limited mental activity and higher intelligence of the heart. He gives us clear instructions and warnings about how the mind makes a fictional self based in limits and fears of the world by which it's programmed. This ego is based on survival and not on the love you are. You must program your mind otherwise. He says, ego is composed of all the fictions you've used to replace the love that you are. In today's jargon, there is a misconception of ego as pride and self-empowerment. However, ego is the vanity of building your life around fantasies about yourself, like a sand castle that cannot stand up to the tides of eternity. It has no real power. Ironically, most personal fantasies have nothing to do with self-esteem, but are usually great destroyers of self-esteem, such as the fantasy of your unworthiness or the illusion of martyrdom, when there really are hidden agendas or insinuations of compliance. There's only really fear underneath. The hub of most egos has little to do with self-esteem, but what they all have in common is a falsehood with which love has been replaced. The love you are is your real self-glory. The sword of Shutup. We are avowedly cultivating ways to love all of our existence, including our temporary creations like our limited mind. As a tool to collect and organize our thoughts, it has executive function like a computer. It works on a binary system of organization, zeros and ones, plus and minus, positive and negative. But by definition, the mind creates separations. It's always creating separate categories, which can be temporarily useful in our decision-making, like I prefer chocolate versus vanilla. However, when these categories purport to be reality, they become confining. All I'll ever be is a chocolate eater. All I'll ever vote for is this party. All I'll ever be able to do is entry-level work. We can slip into thinking this because it seems easier than being fully alive in the present and being responsible for the now. If my now is fraught with fear, this is understandable, but lamentable because I'll never creatively change it with the love I am. So when the negative and limiting thinking in my mind starts to take over because I give my ego power, consciously or unconsciously, it can become an arrogant dictator. It must be put back in its place. It is just a fiction made by a computer, an artificial intelligence I hired that's overstepping its boundaries. The sooner I recognize this and take charge, the less struggle and suffering I'll endure. Life and love will always prevail in the end. It's just a matter of how long I want to choose to prolong my agony. We can use the tools of the analysis principle and the affirmations principle to reclaim the alignment with purpose that has gone off track, as signaled by discomfort. However, at times, I use an intermediary tool to immediately stem the tide of insidious thoughts, which I call the sword of Shutup. If my polite request for my mind to step aside and let love prevail is not honored, I must take immediate command to restore order. A simple and decisive shut up to my mind can be quite effective in cutting off its rebellion and reclaiming the balance of my authority effectively and lovingly putting it back in its place. The caution here is not to overuse or rely exclusively on this tool. It still may be necessary, as in our analysis game, to go back and unearth the source of the negative thinking held in place by fear. And at other times, maybe not. Just the sword of Shutup is enough. Here's where you become the master craftsperson in learning when to use which tool. My father, who is quite a physical craftsman, would jokingly say to me, "Son, if you can't find a hammer, use your head." Now, which if you approach life too seriously could be disastrous, but if you approach life with some humor, could help you lighten up and be creative about getting the job done, working smarter, not harder.